Minecraft is a globally beloved game. Since its release in 2011, this game has sold over 176 million copies and has approximately 112 million users on a monthly basis, which makes this hands down one of the most popular video games of all time. This 3D procedurally generated world is pretty much endless, which I have reviewed in my first video. Along with its massive map, this game has several different modes, such as survival, creative, and adventure mode. So not only do you have a seemingly endless map, but you can take your game in whatever direction you want. As you are exploring this world, you play as a guy named Steve. At first glance, Steve seems fairly average. He isn't sporting some magnificent armor or wielding any great weapon. In fact, he's just walking around in a blue shirt and some jeans. But once you start playing, you realize Steve is far from average. In fact, Steve is probably one of the strongest, if not the strongest, video game character in the world. He can jump large distances, mine diamonds with his bare hands, and not to mention, the guy can fly. Now, there is a lot of information out there about our favorite miner, and we have seen countless people calculate his strength when it comes to jumping, sprinting, and flying. So while I'm going to review how strong Steve really is, I have some more in-depth information on specific abilities Steve has in the game. Let's get started. Steve's carrying capacity has been calculated and documented many times, so I'm going to arrive at this fairly quickly. He has 36 inventory slots, each of which can contain 64 stackable items, or one non-stackable item. With updates to the game, the heaviest item, or stack of items, has changed. It's more or less agreed on that the heaviest item that fits in an inventory slot in survival mode without console commands is a shulker box full of stacks of golden apples. This would weigh 266,803,200 kilograms, or 588,200,370 pounds. This is derived from the real-world density of gold and the volume of gold that goes into golden apples, neglecting the weight of the apples and the weight of the shulker boxes for simplicity. If you'd like to see the full calculation, there are many resources available showing it, and a simple Google search will get you there. With all of this in mind, and Steve's 36 inventory slots and left hand, he can carry 9,871,718,400 kilograms, or 21,763,413,701 pounds. That's approximately 1,077 Eiffel Towers. Most calculations of Steve's strength end there, but this doesn't really tell us how strong he is. After all, given enough time, I could theoretically move 1,077 Eiffel Towers from one place to another. This really speaks more to his unbelievable bone structure than anything. Here is an imaginary scenario to help you imagine this. A 90-kilogram barbell is placed on your shoulders, and you have to climb 10 flights of stairs. It takes 3,294 joules of work to do it. This would be very difficult, but the human spine can take it. Let's say it takes you 30 minutes. Then the mountain enters the building and performs the same task in 5 minutes. You've both lifted the same weight, the same distance, and exerted 3,294 joules on the bar. So how could anyone say that he's stronger than you? The truth is that he is way stronger than you, because he can complete this task in a fraction of the amount of time it takes you. When we're talking about how strong somebody or something is, from weightlifting in the gym to motor vehicles, the physical dimension being measured is power. Power is defined as work over time. So, if we are really going to discover Steve's strength, we have to see what he can do loaded up with this kind of weight. I think the best way to measure this would be his vertical jump. Interestingly, Steve's maximum vertical jump is the same regardless of what he is carrying. Snow is 1/8 of a block, and Steve can clear 11 piles of snow, but not 12. If we keep the assumption that one block is a cubic meter, this comes out to 1.38 meters. According to the Guinness Book of World Records, the highest vertical jump ever recorded was performed by Brett Williams at 1.66 meters. So even unweighted and without trying, Steve would be in some elite company. Now, measuring leg power through the execution of a vertical jump without special equipment is an ongoing biomechanical challenge. We can't really see how much ground reaction force is acting and for how long. But in 1991, Everett Harmon used a multiple regression procedure to develop an approximation for average and peak power. It looks like this. It's not perfect, but it will get us close. As you can see, the only measurements required are mass and jump height. The results of Steve jumping once while fully loaded with shulker boxes full of golden apples are mind-bending. His vertical jump exerts a peak power of 356 gigawatts and an average power of 227 gigawatts. This is enough to power all of New York City for well over a year, 495 days. It would take the equivalent of 2,238,236 Toyota Corollas to match this level of power. This is far, far more powerful than even a modern jet engine, which can get into hundreds of megawatts, still 3 orders of magnitude smaller than Steve. I was curious what this would mean for his capabilities if he could exert this much power unloaded. I'll assume he weighs the average for a 2-meter tall man, 87 kilograms, and we can't forget the Minecraft world's different gravitational constant than our Earth, 22.46 meters per second squared. If he used all his strength in this condition, Steve would leave the ground at nearly 182,000 meters per second. On Earth, this would mean Mach 530, well beyond escape velocity. But the Minecraft world seems flat. Maybe this explains Steve's abilities in creative mode. Also, if Steve can really jump this high, what are those fences made out of? Let me know your opinions and thoughts in the comments. This is Fake Life Lore. Thanks for watching.